everyone, I'm Victoria Wilshire and this is Songtradr Happy Hour. A big hello to our audience and thanks for joining us once again. So let's get all that kind of boring but important stuff out of the way first. Don't forget to add your questions in the Q&A window on Zoom or via the live Facebook chat at any time during the session. Around the 40-minute mark, we'll get to as many of your questions as we can. And just before that, we've got a surprise for you. So you need to hang in to take advantage of that bit. So let's meet our guests. Born and raised in Brazil, he began playing guitar at the ripe old age of 7. 11 years later, he was in Los Angeles attending the Guitar Institute of Technology at the Musicians Institute. It wasn't long before he turned pro and began playing in the LA music scene. Also an artist and producer, he has worked with some very recognizable names like K.D. Lang, Gwen Stefani, BTS, Shakira, Pink, Sergio Mendes, Backstreet Boys, and really there's way too many for us to mention and keep going. On the soundtrack side, he's written, recorded for film and TV shows like Las Vegas, Miami Vice, First Daughter, and Everwood, working with composers like James Newton Howard, Blake Neely, and the composer with that genius minimalist approach to music, but maximum level of difficulty when it comes to names. The composer for Brokeback Mountain, Babel, etc. That's Gustavo Santaolalla.
Correct.
Or Santa Lascia if you're from Argentina. I got a lesson from Alex Menk. He's performed with the LA Phil, produced, this is Grecco we're talking about right now, once again, produced a Latin Grammy-nominated album Manuscrito for Claudia Brandt and released an album of songs in Portuguese called Essas Coisas Todas. Excited to welcome the powerfully talented guitar maestro himself and a colleague from way back, Grecco Buratto. Hello, Grecco.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Victoria.
Hello, welcome. Okay, so on to our next guest. From the other side of the globe now, so it's morning, he is Australia's most celebrated blues, soul, rock organ player who can, and I quote, pump, pamper, and occasionally pound the most unbelievable sounds from a keyboard, which brings to mind for me many broken keys. I'm guessing.
Yes, it's a common problem.
With his group, he has played over 300 shows and festivals around the world since 2011, including Boyz Pop in the Netherlands, Montreux Jazz Festival in Canada, Sveča Blues Festival in Poland, and so many more. Their latest studio album, Make or Break, debuted at #1 on the Australian National Blues and Jazz charts. Their song, Stop Listening to the Blues, has already surpassed 5 million views on Facebook. This artist and songwriter is a monster on the Hammond and the incredibly rare Hohner D6 whammy clavinet and tops it off with some pretty meaty vocals. Please welcome Lockie Doley. Hello, Lockie.
How's it going, Victoria?
I'm going really well, yes. And we're so pleased to have both of you on. You guys are talented as if I may say. I don't know, can we swear?
Pleasure to be here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, so our topic is touring's out. Now what? Sounds a bit flippant, but it's actually, you know, quite serious, and we want to get into some in-depth, meaningful conversation here. So for those out there who might be in the same boat and looking for some inspiration, this conversation is really to share the kind of impact that it's had on the two of you, this decimated live music scene, and how you've managed to pivot into positivity through this. So I'm going to throw a few rapid fire questions at you both to start off. Grecco, how many years have you been working in the music industry?
Since 99. I don't know, 21 years, 22.
You don't look a day over 21, so how's that possible?
I started early.
Lockie, how about you?
Well, about 1995 I started, so yeah, 25 years, something like that.
Hey, you guys are around the same vintage. This is so cool.
Yeah.
So pre-COVID, was music a full-time gig for both of you?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, I'm just setting the scene here for everyone to understand, like the impact. Grecco, can you give us just a really quick overview of what kind of schedule you had pre-COVID?
All right. Well, I went to Portugal on March 8th to start rehearsals for a 5.5-week tour in Europe with an artist that does meditation music called Snatam Kaur. And we were playing, I don't know, 20 shows or something like that. And after that, I would have come back, and I had 10 shows in China scheduled to begin May 30th, going all the way to the end of the year with an artist called Jeff Chang. In September, I had another 5.5 week tour with Snatam, this time in the US, Canada, maybe Australia. And then, you know, a few other gigs to fill up the empty spot. So I was already dealing with 2021.
Right. So pretty busy.
Yeah.
And how about you, Lockie? What was your work schedule like?
Well, I was in the middle of an Australian tour. So we had, about 25 shows, and we'd kind of gotten through half of them. And I remember, the last one being in my hometown in Sydney. And I remember thinking, like, as everything was starting to break in March, I remember thinking, oh, wouldn't this be crazy if this was the last show before, you know, just seeing what was going on around the world. And then sure enough, like, we finished the show and then had an announcement. I saw it on Facebook that, you know, all gatherings over, no gatherings over 50, I think. And then it was like, oh, that's it. So we had like another 15 shows planned in the next couple of months. And then after that, I was meant to go to Canada again, and then back over to Europe for more festivals. And it's horrible. Just, you still see it in your diary. You know, you see the dates of where you were meant to be at any point in time. It's like, no. But so all that was just wiped clean instantly. And then, you know, obviously the borders closed everywhere, and then it just got worse. And and here we are.
Here we are.
We had to scramble after, you know, we got there on the 8th, and on the 9th, the first show got canceled. And then the 10th and 11th were like dominoes falling. Other shows got canceled, and then the travel ban got into place, and then we made it back on the 13th.
Oh, good you made it back.
Yes, absolutely.
Full flight. So Grecco, when the dominoes started to fall, how did you actually feel, if I could ask?
I was very skeptical of this tour actually happening. We had a phone call maybe a week and a half before we flew over to Europe, and I had been keeping an eye on the BBC News and the situation in Italy and all that stuff. And it kind of got everybody by surprise, but at the same time, it's like, I could see that we might have some complications. So I was sort of expecting this to happen, not for as long as it has happened. Of course, I was bummed because, you know, my whole schedule, my whole source of income just disappeared. But at the same time, I was happy to be home. And kind of switched gears almost immediately. I had a list of things that I needed to do, a couple albums that I was producing, and it was like, all right, well, we're not going anywhere for a little while, so I'm just gonna go through my list and cross everything that I've been meaning to cross, but didn't have time, or I was gonna do it while on the road. So I was just shifted gears and kind of accepted that this is where I'm at right now, and this is where we're gonna be for a little bit. So.
And how long did it take you to shift gears?
You know, I got home on a Friday, I think Monday I started working on stuff that I had to do, and not to be, I didn't want to be just not doing anything. You know, I don't think I'm very good at that. And I'm definitely used to that rhythm of always having something going on and doing something and producing and recording and that kind of thing. So I try not to be still, you know, and not to like dwell too much of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. And we're here, we're stuck. To me, it was like, okay, we're here and we are stuck, but there's nothing I can do that's going to change that. So the only thing I can do is occupy myself with things that I know I can do. So let me go finish these songs that I have been sitting on my computer for a while, and, you know, make some progress with that.
So you're not going to give me some dramatic movie scene where, you know, you went into hibernation for months and went into soul searching and...
No, I mean, I have a meditation practice that I've had for over 10 years, where every morning I sit and before I begin my day, I stretch and I meditate. So I think that ultimately helped, you know, not be prepared for it, but be prepared to not panic because of it. You know, just say, okay, well, again, this is the situation, and what can I do to work with it and not be ruled by it? And, you know,
yeah.
So I think that definitely helped. The other thing that helped, and it's something that musicians and artists, we're definitely not taught that in school, but it's some sort of financial planning and having some sort of safety net as much as we can. It's not an easy thing to achieve, but I have been working at it again for the past 10 years. So I'm like, all right, I think I can, for the next 3 months, I'm good. If I don't have any work, it's okay. I'm not gonna panic if I don't have any work. I have a little stash and it's there, and that's what it's for. I don't want to spend it. I want to keep it there, but that's what it's for.
Yeah, but you got to eat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to get into some of those practices later. How about you, Lockie? Are you going to give me this big dramatic film torture thing? You just kind of get straight into it, like Grecco.
Yeah. Well, I basically, as soon as it all happened, I had a little bit of a freak out, like, you know, because I've got a family and a small little one, and I basically just went into mode. Okay, so gigs are gone, there's no money coming in, and I just sort of went, all right, I've just got to do as much work as I possibly can to try and keep it coming in and work out ways I can bring in new ways of earning money, or focus on other things that I'd done a little bit of, but hadn't put much time into. So I instantly started offering lessons, and because I hadn't really done that before. I'm not really a born teacher, I would say, but there's certainly a lot of people out there who've asked me for online lessons over the years and things like that. So I thought, all right, I'll give that a go. And so I kind of quickly set that up, which has been really cool. And another thing was, I guess, doing sessions and remote sessions, because I've got a, if anyone's seen me play, I play some pretty old gear. So I play like an old, 50s Hammond organ, which goes through this crazy old rotating speaker called a Leslie. And it's not the easiest thing to have set up in your home studio and record a great sound, because you've got to have it absolutely cranking. And so one thing I did is I thought, all right, if I want to do these sessions and I don't want to, I want it to sound great, I thought, well, I'm probably going to need some kind of studio space or something like that. And I thought, well, I can't afford that. And then someone said, well, all the rehearsal studios at the moment, they're all empty because no one's recording. I mean, sorry, no one's rehearsing, and maybe you could hire out a rehearsal studio for a while. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up ringing up a few rehearsal studios, and they were totally empty. And I've been in one for the last 4 months for probably what it costs to hire it for a day. And I've managed to have the organ and everything set up in there. And I've been able to do sessions and videos and live streams, all very, very cheap. And but luckily I already had some gear. So yeah, that's probably the one of the biggest shifts or the biggest positives that's sort of come out of this whole thing. It makes me wonder how I'm going to go back when I can't afford to have that space anymore. But I've definitely been enjoying that, and that's helped. And I've been able to promote doing, being available for sessions and playing on people's records, and whether it's the Hammond or the clav, and then the lessons as well. And yeah, it's a bit of an upkeep to keep it all coming in, but yeah, I'm definitely managing, and I'm enjoying it too. I've been enjoying the lessons and getting to play on other people's records, and then yeah, trying to still write my own stuff and as much writing as I can, and just keeping very busy, basically. I find that if I'm busy, I'm in a good headspace.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's different upkeep though, isn't it? Even though you're not out on the road touring, that has upkeep as well. So I guess you've just kind of switched your focus, and dare I say that you might be spending a little bit more time with your family as well right now. I think most of us are.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's a big thing. It's funny, at the end of last year I was a little bit burnt out because we did like 3 months of overseas touring. I was jumping oceans constantly, and when I got home I was like, oh, I just really all right, 2020, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to chill out, not much touring.
It's your fault.
Bam.
Because you
started
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take some responsibility, because I had a similar thing. Last year was super busy, and there were months where I went to China and back like 3 times.
Wow.
Go on a Wednesday, come back on a Sunday, then go back on a Wednesday, back on the Sunday. So, and then I had been wanting to get more into writing music and getting more into orchestration and do music that perhaps is suitable for film or visual media. But I was like, how am I going to do that? I'm always traveling, and I was like, all right, I need to take a year off to just build a catalog of cues and songs and learn new software. And maybe I think it was after a month of quarantine, I'm like, I think this is that year you wanted. I think it's here. I think you have to really pay attention, because this is it.
Yeah, you've got to kind of make the most of it while it's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a nice problem to have, I guess, now in hindsight. But I was going to say, I don't know if anyone's seen Change Up. I've got kids, so they love those kind of like raucous.
Up.
Yeah. You guys probably said that at exactly the same time. You weren't peeing in a fountain, I'm sure, at that time. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, guys, just go out and watch the movie, and then you'll know I'm not going insane. So I actually feel like every second person has either improved their cooking skills, learned to bake bread or something like that, or done a masterclass. For you guys, Grecco, how about you? Have you made any new discoveries, whether it's technological, artistic, emotional, spiritual, whatever?
Again, I started learning Logic, which I'm a Pro Tools guy and always been. And I'm really fast with it. I'm really good at it. But it was like, okay, let me figure out the Logic thing. So I got a bunch of samples, started learning about it. I did sign up for an orchestration course that was being offered by the Musicians Union in LA. And it's 8 weeks, 8 Tuesday nights, 3-hour sessions, tons of homework. It's something I've always wanted to do, was never in town to do it, so that was good. I signed up for Center, that app. That's Liam Hemsworth app, like a workout app, and they had like a challenge, like a 6-week workout plan, and I've done it twice already.
So how many months before you look like him, like in the body? I mean,
I think, no, I think that's not going to happen.
Well, then you want your money back, right?
No, I look better. It's good. I've lost a few pounds. It's good.
Okay, great. And how about you, Lucky? Any new discoveries on your end?
Probably the one thing I could say is that I've always been in a band. When I play, I've always got a bass player and a drummer, and and I can just do little bits here and sing here and sort of have a lot of fun. But I've been doing these live streams, and I thought, all right, I think I've got to work out how I can sort of bring that same energy and craziness when it's just me playing all by myself in a room to an audience, well, a virtual audience. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've sort of learned, or learning curve, is practicing, just being able to accompany myself all on my lonesome, really. And it's been really great, actually. It's been another great thing about all this. It's just discovering that I can actually do it, and that people enjoy it, even if it doesn't have the raucous energy of the powering bass and drums and all that. And it means I can do a whole bunch of other songs, like some of the quieter songs on the album that I just never ever do, and some of the sweeter covers that I I've always liked. And so I guess it's just, it's that kind of little switch of performance, I guess, that maybe I wouldn't have bothered sort of even trying to do. So so I think that's a really good positive, and I feel like I'm going to come out of this whole thing, with something else up my sleeve. So that's a good thing.
In fact, when you come out of it and you start playing with your band again, you're going to be going, oh, turn down.
Yeah. Oh, geez, you guys are annoying.
I'm fine. So just on that performing and posting on social media, like 5 million views on Facebook, that's quite an achievement. And I had a look at a lot of your videos, and the engagement is very healthy. So I wanted to ask you, did you actually have a strategy that you set out to execute on, or is it just Lucky is doing his thing and it works?
Well, no, I didn't really have a strategy. I think it was about 6 years ago or something like that. I did decide that, video, I really had to start videoing my performances and just putting as much stuff up as I could. And I'd put full songs up generally. I'd try, and there was one show in 2015 where I spent a little bit of money and got it professionally filmed, and I'd put the whole songs up, and they'd get a few views and things like that, and I was thinking, oh man, no one's getting to my my crazy solo in the middle, which is probably something that's sort of it's something that makes me who I am, and it's not many people sort of solo the way I do, whereas lots of people can sing great and play great, and so I thought, I wonder if I just forget the song, don't worry about that, let's just go straight to the solo. I just put the solo up, and all of a sudden it's getting shared around. Oh, here it is, check this out, this guy's crazy, what's with this guy? And that's kind of how it started, and I thought, oh wow, this is really interesting. So from then on, I've always been, okay, I'll do the crazy flashy stuff, make these little bites, and then hope that from there, 5% of those people might then go and actually see a whole song and become a fan. And that's kind of the way I've worked it pretty much ever since, really. It's just trying to get them in with the wow factor. And then if you do that enough times, hopefully they'll actually feel inclined to watch a whole song or a whole performance or something like that, and then want to come and see you play. So yeah, I suppose it has turned into a strategy.
Well, there you go. And I was going to say, though, like soloing, how long can you solo for? Because that's a lot of energy there, right? And solos are usually like, what is it, like 8 bars, 12 bars, 16 bars if you're lucky. But
Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, the attention span of people on videos, generally, you're not going to get past sort of 15, 20 seconds anyway. So it's just like a little bit of bait. And then it might resonate with some people, might not. And then hopefully they'll dig a little deeper, and that's what you hope for anyway.
We're ready to dig deeper. So Grecco, I wanted to hop over to you, and you've toured with some major names here, international headliners, and is there one major artist whose approach to their work or their music or life that you've brought into this time with you and it stayed with you?
Yeah, Katie Lang. Hands down. Best boss I've ever had.
Okay, share. Can you share
Awesome.
how?
Well, just her integrity, both artistically and as a person, as an artist, as a person engaged not only with her art, but with the world and what she wants to convey as a message, and to me, I started working with her in 2008, and she definitely had a very positive, very profound influence on how I then proceeded to interface with music and art and the world, and it coincided with, well, maybe not, maybe it was the beginning, it was the spark, because we did a session, and she practices Buddhism, and the center for her lineage is 20 miles from where I grew up in the south of Brazil, because this teacher from Tibet moved to Brazil and decided to open a ashram or a temple, build a temple. And it was, 20 miles from my home. And so we met and we recorded a song, and she talked about that. I was like, oh, really? Well, I think that's right where I grew up. It's like, oh my God, yeah, okay, next time when you go there, can you bring me some incense? And I said, yeah, of course. And so I went there, and during that year, I had already developed like a personal discipline where I had a number of things that I was practicing every day. I was learning French, I was learning Italian, I was getting vocal lessons, I was going to the gym and practicing guitar. I had a list of 5 things, and I needed to do 3 every day. 3 out of 5, it didn't matter how long for, it just mattered that I did it. So if I had 5 minutes in the van ride from the hotel to the airport, that's good enough. So I finished a book in Italian, a book in French, and I was singing better. And so I was looking for something else to do the following year, and I went to the temple, and I sat down and I closed my eyes, put my hands on my knees, and I was like, this is what I need to do next year. I need to meditate. So I got back in town. I got asked to go to a yoga class. I went to yoga class, and I was hooked. And then we went to Australia for a month to do a tour with KD. And then that's where, I really got deeper into my meditation practice, and I realized that I was going to stop eating meat. And of course, she's always been a vegan. So it was like definitely her influence over there too. So yeah, she had a she's definitely a very, very powerful, positive force, I think, in my life.
Yeah, I can see that. She has a calmness about her when she performs, doesn't she?
Yes.
How many languages do you speak, Grecco?
I think 3 very well, and then I can defend myself, or I can survive in French and Italian. So
Yeah.
5, but really 3.
You should probably be modest, What about you, Lockie? English and Aussie.
Yeah, English and Aussie. That's it. Yeah. That's 2 different languages, right?
It is.
In some parts of Australia. Yeah.
I love that piece. And, I actually saw an interview with you, Grecco, where you talked about setting your intention,
Right.
paying your dues, understanding the value of a gig. And just to cut a long story short, and hopefully I've got this right, that you set the intention when you wanted to become a session musician to actually do it every single week.
Right.
And so you said, I'm just going to play, I'm going to do sessions regardless of whether, it's going to pay me. And that eventually led you to playing on a Boyz II Men album. Did I get that
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's absolutely right.
So I love that approach, because I think that it's like having a map, and you want to go somewhere, but you haven't actually pinpointed where you're going. And if it's not clear in your head, then how are you going to get there?
Yep.
So on that, what kinds of intentions have you set through this time? And then do you have some set for when you come out of this?
I haven't yet set, well, I guess I do, because that's what I'm doing right now. It's the whole writing music, writing cues, and learning to orchestrate and that kind of thing. Again, I was like, okay, I need to build my catalog. I need to have 50 cues. Or I need to have 100 cues. I need to have music from different styles. So, and when you set the intention, usually, if I believe this, and it depends on what your beliefs are and all that stuff, but you set the intention, and the universe will conspire in your favor, or it'll present you with opportunities. Of course, you have to be aware of these opportunities and grab them, or accept them anyway. So I said, okay, I want to write. And I had been writing before this whole thing started. Every day I would practice guitar and I would write something. It didn't matter what it was, but just write a little, or just record, because I can always pick up the guitar and, okay, I'll write a few bars. That's fine. So I started recording everything, cataloging everything, organizing everything. And then I said that, okay, I need to write. And then I got introduced to this guy who has a partner in China who does library music. He's from Brazil. He practices meditation, yoga. All right, so we talked, and I was like, okay, yeah, I showed him the stuff I had written. He's like, okay, I'll take it. It's non-exclusive. You can take it out of our catalog anytime. It's very open. This is the split. Very straightforward. It's like, okay, great. And then one day he calls me. He's like, hey, my partner in China, we got hired to write 100 pieces of meditation music. This was Monday. How many can you do by Friday? So I said, well, I think I can do 25. And I didn't make it. I made 20. And I wrote from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. for like 3 days. And it was I burnt myself out. After that, I'd have to take a couple weeks off because I didn't want to see my computer or software or anything. I was just like done. But that's the kind of thing that happens. That the intention was there to write, and then all of a sudden I have 20 pieces of music that I can shop around. I can approach other services and see if they're interested. But I have a catalog now.
Excellent.
And that's what I've been doing, is just sit, write, get a new software, explore. And then I discovered as well that I have another thing that I had been doing is general cleaning up of my old computer, hard drives, digitizing cassette tapes. Yes, all of that. And so I found out these sessions from 15 years ago that are acoustic guitar pieces. And I think they have an identity, they have a continuity. And I decided that I was going to pick these, the ones that I liked, and make an album of 10 songs that are acoustic guitar. And then I'm going to add an orchestra, or, and that is also going to be part of the catalog, but it's writing, it's getting along with that intention of like, okay, I need to write, I need to have music in order to show people and that kind of thing.
Set the intention. How about you, Lockie? What kinds of intentions are happening in your world?
Well, I guess this whole experience has sort of made me think, I guess, of getting in some kind of position where if this ever happened again, and for whatever reason I couldn't tour or couldn't do gigs. So I guess I've been thinking a lot about sort of, I guess, money coming in from, lots of little places, I suppose, like just trying to put more songs out there, on streaming services, try and get a little bit from all the videos. I sort of hadn't had my YouTube monetized, and just because I find ads annoying, and I thought, all right, I'll switch that on, and then realizing that you can actually get these tiny little bits of money. They're not much, but they're consistent, and basically the more that you do, then the more of those little bits are going to add up, and eventually, maybe over another 5 years, those little bits may actually be enough to keep you afloat if for some reason you can't do gigs, or you choose not to do gigs and want to focus on something else. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and and I'm not really sure exactly of my plan once it all ends. It's just really hard to, because I postponed the first tour and then moved them to basically now, and then they've been cancelled again. So I don't know whether to postpone them or just forget about it for the meantime. So it is a little bit hard to come up with a plan out of it all. But I'm sure I'll get to do the gigs again soon and start touring again, because that is what as much as I love doing the sessions and I love doing the teaching and stuff, I just love playing. I love playing in front of an audience, and really starting to miss it now.
Yeah, so when you actually do get back out and do it, you're going to be even more of a monster. But that actually segues really nicely into the next question I was going to ask you, was, do you have any advice for the other musicians out there as to what they can do now to get set up for success once this all ends? And I just love that whole thing of just start with the little things and let them start to build up. Is there anything else that you would offer?
Well, I would just say trying to build your audience online, I think is, that may seem obvious, but and I'm sure everyone is trying to do that, but really making that a huge focus and getting committed to whether it's doing live streams every week or just putting new material up on the streaming sites consistently. I think I'm almost starting to think of Spotify as just another another news feed in a way, but obviously you want it to be more polished and more more a finished product. But it's sort of a similar thing. I think the more you put out there, then the more people are going to come and hopefully enjoy what you do. But you just have to be consistent, and try and be as creative as you can, and put your best stuff forward first. I think, that what makes you unique and interesting, and put that front and center, and then hopefully that's enough to bring them in to check out, maybe your longer pieces or your albums, or even your back catalog, which is another great thing to have too. I've been doing this I've got 10 years. I've been doing my solo stuff now, and there's 5 albums there and a bunch of other stuff, and it's great to know that, you get these new people come in, and sometimes they get excited and they want to check out all of your stuff, and they can go and either purchase or listen to your older stuff as well. So yeah, really, I think it's just recording, authenticity. I know it's cliche, but and whatever you can find that sort of sets you apart, and getting creative, I think, is a powerful thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The good words. Grecco, is there anything that you would do differently once things open up again?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think and I say that to my wife. It's gonna be an interesting thing going back to work for other people. That's gonna be a challenge, not just for a lot of people, a lot of us, because during this time, a lot of us have been developing our own businesses. It doesn't matter how small they are, but they're ours, and we've been investing energy or investing time, and just it'll be interesting to going back to some sort of the old norm, where you're working for somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, maybe you can do both.
I think you can. It's just as long as you have it clear what it is what's your purpose in this, the whole scheme of things. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this because this will lead me to this. But we, of course, as humans, we have the tendency of get comfortable, and it's easy going out playing as. It's not easy, but it's easy. It's easy to go out and play as a sideman because I don't have to worry about anything other than just showing up and playing.
Doing your part.
Doing my part. For Lockheed, maybe it's different because it's his project, it's his music. So he has to wear various other hats, and I've had a little bit of experience in that, and it's great. I love it. I haven't done it as successfully as he has, but it's yeah, it's
a tricky mindset, the difference between doing your own stuff, and it really is a business, and then playing for other people. I've been lucky. I've pretty much side by side, I've been playing tours for other Australian artists while I've been doing my stuff, and for me, I love it. It's the perfect thing for me. I can put so much energy into my own project, and then almost like it's too much, and then there's a 2-month tour with an artist where I can just switch off, and all I have to think about is doing the very best I can for this other artist, and not have to worry about all those other pressures. So yeah, I love being able to sort of slot in, go from one to the other. It kind of keeps me sane in a way.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance too. I like doing it too.
Yeah, so. And when we come out of this, we're all going to have to wear pants again.
I know.
Then you just do this bit, right? I mean, we're all wearing pants, but okay. So before we get into our Q&A bit, don't stand up, guys. This is the surprise that I was talking about. So, I kind of timidly asked Grecco if he would want to play for us on this session, and he said yes. So I'm very excited about this. I haven't heard Grecco play for a long time. So this is going to be great. Grecco, would you like to tell us what you're going to play?
Sure. I'll play a song that's on my first and only album called Essas Coisas Todas. So I had a nervous breakdown back in 2004. I went to the hospital and I was working too much. I was too stressed out. So I decided to take off from LA and I ended up in Cape Verde. And I was also in a band and I decided to quit the band, and I just needed to reset. So this song came out in this when I was in Cape Verde, which is an incredible place. And it's in Portuguese. It talks about all the things that we can't talk about. There are no words to express it. You know? And it talks about a feeling of, it's kind of like in Cape Verde, they have a style of music called morna. And it's kind of, it's like it's mourning. You're missing something. You're missing somebody. So this is a song that says that now I know what the morna is made of. Não, eu não sei de tudo que há entre o céu e o mar. Por que é que nasce o sol? Existem mais estrelas que eu possa contar. Não, eu não sei de tudo isso que me faz pensar. Se existe algo mais além do alcance desse meu olhar. Do samba eu sei, do samba eu sei, da dor que vem navegando nas ondas. Do samba eu sei, samba chorei, samba faz da tristeza do amor que se sente e se sofre em paz. Zerai, bare, daraya. Zea, daraya, Zemdara, Zeraya baya, Zamdearaya, Zaraya, Raya, do samba eu sei, do samba eu sei, da dor que vem navegando nas ondas. Do samba eu sei, samba chorei, samba faz da tristeza do amor que se sente e se sofre em paz. Da tristeza do amor que se sente e se sofre em paz. Da tristeza do amor que se sente e se sofre em paz.
Beautiful.
That's amazing. Thank you, Grecco. We've got people typing in
Foreign languages.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're opening up for us, Grecco. Now I need like my nice red wine.
There you go.
The fireplace, a hot date. No, I've got a husband. It's good. So let's move to our Q&A. And by the way, you know, I did ask Lockie, but I think it's kind of hard for him to bring his whole setup to his camera. So maybe next time, Lockie.
Maybe next time, yeah.
Next time. Let's see. Let's go to some questions. We have time for a few here. from Pantelis Vasilakis. Please share your thoughts about the feasibility of drive-in concerts or other possible social distancing in-person live performance options. What are your thoughts on those, guys?
Well, I know there's been all sorts of things, haven't there? Been the drive-in concerts and the even that festival where they've all got, each little group has a little piece of scaffolding that they all have. But it's just I don't know. I mean, me personally, I can't get excited about going to something like that. Unfortunately, if that is our only option, then of course I would do it. But just as far as a punter goes in the audience, I guess, you know, I would have to go there to fully know. I would have to experience it and see for myself. But I struggle with the idea of you know, really being able to get the atmosphere of a live performance when you're, especially in a car, listening through your stereo or I suppose the little mini bits of scaffolding, you know, it's interesting, but yeah, it's just you just want that feeling of being a part of something, and you want those people around you, and I struggle with the idea of it as a punter, but of course, if I was on stage, I'm sure I would still have a great time and still enjoy it. And whether it's feasible to do them, I don't know. Whether people can make money, if promoters can make money or bands can make money doing them, I'm not sure. But
if that's the only option, perhaps. We use punter in Australia. Stateside, do people use the word punter? Grecco, do you know?
I know by context.
Right. Yeah. So, Lockie, you want to explain what a punter is?
Oh, a punter. Sorry. Person in the audience.
Yeah, Aussies, we need a different word for everything, you know.
We do. Yeah. So annoying.
Grecco, is there anything you want to weigh in on that question?
My wife did do a drive-in concert not too long ago, and she said it was a very different experience, but still they were happy to have done it. I mean, instead of clapping, people would flash their lights and honk their horns. You know, I don't know. I have to yet have that experience to contribute.
Right. Yeah. I love it. Rigoberto Gutierrez, he's saying new word of the day is punter. Good on you. Okay, another question. Someone anonymous. Have the emotions and challenges of the pandemic influenced your creative process and or the style of your work? Interesting.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm still processing a lot of it. And with all that's going on in America with protests and racial inequalities and injustices, and again, this is my point of view, as a white person who's enjoyed a privileged life, I don't feel like at this point, I don't feel like I have anything to say that would add to the conversation, so I just rather not say anything. I think there are people that need to be heard at this moment, and I prefer to give the microphone to them. You know, has the emotion, the creative process, I'm still writing but I'm mainly focusing on back catalog of ideas that were unfinished and, you know, just needed to be developed.
Yeah. Just hold the space for those who have something really quite powerful to say right now or have the emotion behind it, right? Lockie, how about you?
Yeah, well, it is a crazy time and it's hard not to take in everything that's going on, and especially when you are writing tunes. I I've got a lot of ideas and a lot of things that I have written down on my written in my phone um, uh, about certain things, and yeah, and I still haven't finished. I haven't finished any of these ideas, but yeah, there's a lot of little things. Whether they will become songs, I'm not sure, but this time just can't, you just can't help but make you think about things differently and a little deeper, especially because you've got so much time.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll see about that. I would like to say I've written more stuff and been more creative with my lyric writing over this time, but yeah, I still feel like I'm more coming up with ideas and creative strategies and creative ways to do things differently, as opposed to so much writing, I suppose, at the moment.
Yeah.
But we'll see in the future, I guess.
We're in survival mode of sorts. You have to figure out how you're gonna, make money for your family or that kind of thing. That's
exactly.
Creativity usually happens when you're relaxed and
or can look back on those times in a way, and then really be able to write about them and reflect on them. So yeah, it'll be an interesting time. I'm sure a lot of people, yeah, once this is over, there'll be a lot of work coming out by artists, and you'll be able to directly correlate it to this time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, a lot of music pandemic babies, maybe.
Exactly.
So another question from Bobby Dell. Hey guys, thanks for coming. What's your take on the digital streaming market? It's a big question, right?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Before all this went down, when there were lots of gigs around, when there were gigs around, and I was very much okay. This is just in a way, it's a great discovery platform. It's especially Spotify. I do love the way they distribute music and how it does sort of seem that if something is different or is good or is people are enjoying it, it gets saved and stuff and gets moved forward and played to new people. I do love that concept. And then it was always like, oh great, if we can build that up, then you can build up more fans and hopefully come to your gigs and maybe buy a special piece of merchandise like a vinyl or a t-shirt or something like that. And now there's no gigs. It's at the moment, I suppose. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. Maybe it's still the same thing, and you just have to try and use it as a discovery thing and try and get people to then invest in other ways, even if there aren't gigs. But even as a channel for like a Patreon, a supporter kind of system or something like that. I've got a similar thing to that through Facebook called supporters. So to me, it's still more of a discovery thing for me. I think it takes a lot of streams to be able to try and make some sort of income that you could survive off. But then, like I was saying before, it's just another one of those streams. If you can have that, if you can have YouTube, even Facebook, your supporter group, Bandcamp, if you can get them to a point where they're all bringing in a little bit, then maybe that's going to be enough to be something substantial. So,
Grecco?
Yeah, it's click and bait, literally.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. You just leverage the tools that are available to you right now, and use them to the best of your ability. And if you can turn that to your advantage, then, you know, good luck to you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. It's here to stay.
Yeah. Couple more questions, if we can, very quickly. From Deborah Marla, what are some mistakes you've seen other musicians make on the touring scene or in the studio?
I can tell you about mistakes that I've made.
Yeah, talk about those.
I know of someone's cousin whose brother,
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, my mate one time went into the studio very unprepared. He he hadn't finished writing the album yet, and yeah. So there's an album I did called Love Light in 2017, which was I'd been on the road, and sometimes I just need to book stuff in. I need to book the studio. It's like, you know, I've been a bit slack. I haven't had time to write it, but if I book it in, then I know I have to have it all ready, and we're going in the studio that day, and it's all got to happen. Well, this time, I didn't get it together, and we booked the studio, and it just ended up taking a very long time, and coming up with ideas on the fly, and then because I was so immersed in trying to get all that stuff together, I didn't pay attention to the sounds that were getting pulled. I didn't pay attention to a lot of the other stuff. Certain things that people were playing, and in the result to me was just, you know, I can't really even listen to that album in a way these days, you know, without thinking, oh geez, I wish I just had more time there. I wish I just, you know, I don't like that lyric. I wish I changed that. You know, so that's certainly one big thing going into the studio is just being really prepared. And you know, I can't say even the last album, there's still things that were up in the air, but I made a point of being as prepared as I possibly could for the last album, and I can still listen to my last album, whereas the one before that, it's like, oh no.
Well, so, learning experience though, right? And then it served its purpose for you.
Exactly.
You'll never do that again. How about you, Grecco?
I think a big lesson that I had was being in a session and not really liking the fact that I was there. I didn't enjoy the music, or I was in a bad mood that day. And suddenly I realized that the person on the other side of the booth, she had worked really hard to pay me to be there. And it was her dream. And who was I to take a dump over that? Who am I to do that? It's her dream. This is not something that's acceptable for. So after that, I always kept that in my mind, that if I say yes to a gig, you know, I do my best to respect the music and the person who's hiring me, because it's their dream. I can't just show up and be in a bad mood. And that's what ultimately being a professional is. It's your private circumstances. The moment you step onto the studio, they need to be left at the door, because you're there to be you're a service provider, and they need to be happy with what you deliver, and that's it.
Does that make you slightly more maybe choosy now with certain sessions? Like if you feel like you may be feeling that way, then yeah,
because again, like I said, I went to the hospital at one point because I was saying yes to everything, because it was, you know, the rat race, and I have to, you know, I gotta do this gig because that might lead me to the guy who I want to work with. And after that, I decided to just be more selective and say, you know, how much do I need to pay my bills? Okay, I need this much. I really don't like the situation, or I'm not vibing with the music. You know, I don't want to be there for 8 hours and not enjoy it, not enjoy my time. And also, it's 8 hours that I'm not going to get back.
Yeah. And if you're in that mindset, it's pretty hard to perform at your best, especially musically and creatively as well.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of work that actually chips away at your soul, and before you know it, you're not enjoying what you're doing anymore. And we're in it for the passion, and that's what brings the creative inspiration and the spark. And that's what people want us for as creatives. It's for that spark. So respect it, don't kill it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is such a perfect note to end on. And I'm really sorry we have to end now because we're out of time. Grecco and Lockie, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you for playing for us as well, Grecco. Fantastic. You guys are awesome, so talented. Guys out there, if you haven't checked out the playing of Grecco or Lockie and Lockie's band, do it. Do yourself a favour. Do it. Meldrum there.
Yeah, the Aussie reference. Perfect.
Exactly. So thank you to our audience in here and also out there. We hope you found this happy hour very valuable and enjoyable. You'll be able to view the full session on YouTube tomorrow. Look out for a link in the webinar follow-up email or the post on our social channels, and let us know in the comments what you would like us to talk about on these happy hours. We'd love to know. Coming up on the next episode, hip-hop has captured our imaginations for quite some time already. The tracks created and recreated, consumed, loved, and played in every aspect of the music and media industries by creators from all walks of life in every corner of the globe. For those who've grown up with it, though, in their communities and neighbourhoods, it's more than just a genre, it's a way of life. So tune in for Hip Hop Deconstructed on our next happy hour. Look out for details. Guys, life can be really tough, and we know it's tough right now, so let's remember to be very kind to each other. Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, Grecco, Lockie, once again. We will see.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really great.
Thanks, guys.